Alrighty, so we are back, and I have gone through the liberty of upgrading the deck. So I just quickly wanted to showcase all of, or the myriad of options that I've added and swapped out of the deck here. So we have, of course, 3 copies of Easy Mark. This card is obviously good. It allows you to have an absurd amount of action compression and resource and card draw, which is great in a deck like this. And then we have the two core myriad cards that we're looking at here: the Segment of Onyx and 3 Aces. The 3 Aces allows us to automatically succeed at a particular test as long as we have all 3 copies committed to that test. And then when we succeed, we get to draw 3 cards and gain 3 resources, which is excellent. And then we also, once we have all 3 copies of the Segment of Onyx, we get to play the Pendant of the Queen. So this accessory allows us to spend a charge on it and either move to a location, discover a clue at a location, or we get to automatically evade an enemy at a location, which is primo. Absolutely primo. So the whole point of the deck now is to essentially find these pieces and abuse them as much as possible. So to that end, we've taken out some of the excess fluff here. I've taken out both copies of Unexpected Courage. I've taken out both copies of Logical Reasoning. I took out the copy of Fine Clothes, 1 copy of Old Book of Lore. At least in the first game that we played, it seemed like having the second one in hand was pretty much nothing but a will icon. So I don't want to run the risk of finding the second one when we already have one. And having the first one isn't totally necessary to what the deck's doing anyway, so I don't think we need more than 1. And then I took out Crack the Case too, so now that we're playing with Easy Mark and 3 Aces, I think we have plenty of ways to generate resources. I was considering taking out Astounding Revelation in place of it, but I find that card tends to be easier to trigger in Mandy versus Crack the Case, oddly enough. It's just easier. It's easier to do a lot of searching than it is to try to find a particular location with all of those resources that you want to grab all at once. Alright, so now that we've done all of the upgrading to our deck here, let's go ahead and spend our 3 experience. Excuse me. And let's take a look here. So, just want to make sure that there's nothing else to deal with here. We've created the exploration deck. We have the encounter deck set aside. And then we have the cultist in the bag from last scenario. Yep. Alright, so it looks like we're ready to rock and roll here. We have a poison weakness just in case. Let's go ahead and draw our opening hand here. We are starting with 3 less resources because of our outcome from the last scenario. And of course, we're starting with 2 extra trauma, which is unfortunate as well. Ooh, okay, so this hand is pretty spicy. Do we get rid of this 3 Aces now and hope to get them later? This is a pretty good hand. I think we get rid of this Old Book of Lore. Do we though? So we could 1 action play this, 2 action play these, 3rd action play Old Book of Lore. I don't hate that. Let's get rid of this for now, and then let's draw a new card. I'm gonna draw a Slip Away. Okay, this hand's pretty cool. I'm pretty okay with it. So let's take a look at the entryway here. The entryway is 2 Shroud, 1 Clue. It has a Resign action, and it has a second action that checks our supplies for torches, which we do have. And we get to look at the top 2 cards of the exploration deck and discard each treachery looked at by this effect, and then shuffle the exploration deck. Alright, but I think we have our turn pretty much on lockdown here. We're going to spend our 2 resources to play our Hawkeye folding camera. We're going to second action, play Easy Mark. We'll gain 2 resources and draw a card. And then with its reaction, we will play a second one. We'll gain 2 resources and draw a card. Okay, not bad. And then third action, let's go ahead and play this Old Book of Lore. Alright, so pretty productive turn. No enemies. We'll move right into upkeep here. Ooh, so we draw our first segment of Onyx here, and we have 2 resources. So we are looking good to go here. Let's enter Mythos phase. This is now turn 2. There is a 2 Doom of 7. So the agenda has a forced effect that says when the agenda would advance, we do not remove Doom from each location in play. And then our objective is to get 3 total clues, and the act has the action to explore. So let's go ahead and draw our encounter card, and we draw a Deep Dark. Put it into play next to the agenda deck. No more than 1 clue can be discovered from each location by each investigator each round. Okay, not really a problem in solo play. Alright, let's move into investigation phase. We have 2 resources. We have Old Book of Lore. We're looking pretty good to go. Let's start by investigating. 2 versus 5 here. Draw 0. Very nice. So we'll go ahead and get this. Whoop. We'll get this clue. We'll trigger a Hawkeye folding camera and put a resource on it. And we will get an additional willpower. Nice. So let's activate Old Book of Lore. Let's look at the top 3 and draw 2. 3. And then let's draw 2 here. Ooh, nice. So we get a 3 aces and a Mr. Rook. Nice. Alright. We are looking pretty good here. Okay, so next turn we can play Mr. Rook. We have 6 cards in hand. We could go up to 8 if we draw a card with our final action here. We can't discover any more clues. Let's use this action. Let's look at the top 2 here. And we get to discard a treachery, I believe. Yes, discard, each treachery. That's cool. So we're going to get rid of this. And then we discard, or shuffle the encounter deck. Or exploration deck, rather. Okay, pretty productive turn, I would say. Let's move into upkeep. Let's gain a resource. Let's draw a deduction. Not bad. I did shuffle this, right? Mythos phase, turn 3, 2 Doom of 7. Let's draw our encounter card. And this Deep Dark goes away. Ooh, so we draw a Curse of Yig. Curse of Yig gets put into play in our threat area. We have -1 combat, so we currently have a 0. We have 5 health. Ugh. Test willpower 2, this gets +1 difficulty, and if you succeed, you get to discard it. Okay, not too bad. Let's start our turn by playing Mr. Rook. Let's put 3 resources on him. Let's spend one of those. And let's look at the top 9 and draw 2. And let's see what we get here. Ugh, alright, so we draw this. Is every weakness, right? No, you just have to draw one of them. Yeah, okay. So we have to draw the astounding or shocking discovery, unfortunately. And let's see what our encounter card is. Another Curse of Yig. Come on, dude. Alright, we gotta get rid of these. Okay, so let's first action. Let's test willpower 2 versus 4 here. Yeah, 2 versus 4, Chaosspike says. -5, fun. Alright, second one, 2 versus 5. Let's try, or 2 versus 4. Let's try this again. Alright, +1. We get rid of 1. And then last action, let's do it again. -2. So we pass. Barely, but we pass. Okay, so not the most exciting of turns, but we do get rid of a couple treacheries, play Mr. Rook, and move about our business. Pass. I don't know, so I only had... Yeah, so I shouldn't have been able to do that. That was my bad. Because I failed 1, so I should still have 1. Okay, so let's correct that. Alright, we are good to go here. Let's move into Mythos of turn 3. It should be turn 4. We're on 4 Doom, or 3 Doom of 7. And we draw a Fang of Yig. It's prey. Its prey is the poisoned investigator, which we are not, has retaliate. And while it's engaged with a poisoned investigator, that investigator cannot play cards or commit cards to skill tests. Okay, that's not too bad. Fortunately, we have ways to deal with that guy. So let's go ahead and do this real quick. Let's first action evade. Let's commit decoy. That'll be for 5. 5. Actually, let's use Mr. Rook first. Let's look at the top 9, take 2. Oops, not search the whole deck. No, stop it. Stop it. Cut. There. Bada bing, bada boom. Alright, let's see what we get here. We have 2 astounding revelations. We're definitely going to trigger one of these. So we'll gain 2 resources off the search. We'll take this segment of onyx. So now we have 2 of 3. Very nice. And last card. We could take elusive. We could take quick thinking. I don't hate. Actually, let's do that. So we're going to take quick thinking here. So we took a segment and quick thinking, and then let's evade. Oh, let's commit these. So that's going to be 6 versus 3. Yeah, 6 versus 3. Chaos Bike says -2. We don't pass by 2 or more, but we still pass. All right, so he's evaded. Second action. Let's... I'm debating on whether or not I want to use the torches again. I think I do, though. So we find the underground ruins again, and a final mistake. All right, cool. And then let's put this back in here and shuffle. All right, so it's unlikely that we're going to find a card worth exploring, but I think it's probably worth it to try. So let's explore. And of course we find a deep dark. Okay, that's not the end of the world. Enemy phase, whoops. Enemy phase, this guy will ready and re-engage us, unfortunately. So that'll be enemy phase. End of the round, this guy will go away. Whoops. Forgot to shuffle the deck here. Alright, let's draw a card here. And we draw a second copy of Decoy. Okay. Let's move into Mythos phase of turn 5. We'll add our 4th Doom of 7. And let's see what we get for an encounter card. An Obscuring Fog. Okay. Not the end of the world here. Just gives our location 2 extra shroud. But our main concern is evading this enemy. So let's start with Mr. Rook again. Let's look at the top 9 and grab 2. And we find our other astounding revelation. We'll gain 2 resources, and let's grab this 3 aces. Oops. And let's grab... Oh, we have to grab this weakness. Ooh, and then we can grab this segment of onyx as well. Woo, buddy! Alrighty, we are in business. Okay, we have some stuff to do. Okay, so we can play all these. So if you have 3 segments of onyx in play. Okay, so let's just do that. 1, 2, 3. They're all fast, so fortunately we don't take attacks of opportunity. So we're gonna do that. So if we have 3 copies of them, we can remove them, and then we can put this card into play. All right, nice. So now we have some options. So we can just use the charge of the pendant of the queen to just straight up evade this, which I don't hate. We could try to evade it with actions, but I think I'm just going to use this. It's bada bing, bada boom. We're going to evade this guy automatically, because we can do that. We are going to Let's explore. We find a crypt chill. Alright, so crypt chill is a 4v4, and if we fail, we have to choose and discard an asset, and if we can't, we have to take 2 damage. Yeah, that sucks. I think we're gonna have to get rid of the book. -1, yeah. Okay, let's just get rid of this old book of lore. I don't want to get rid of Mr. Rook, given the way that our last game went. We need all the soak we can get. Let's try to explore again. Okay, burial pit is not connected. Secret passage is not connected. Entombed. Okay, so it gets put into play in our threat area. Let's shuffle these back into the deck. Okay. Entombed gets put into play in our threat area. We cannot disengage from enemies or move. And we have to test agility or combat 4 to break out of a... Okay, let's try to do this then, I guess. Let's commit these for +3. It's going to be 6 versus 4. Chaos Bake says 0. All right. So we get to look at the top 3 and find a card. So let's search the top 3. Eureka, Quick Thinking, and Slip Away. We already have a Slip Away. So it's between Quick Thinking and Eureka. I think we're going to need all the actions we can get. So let's do this. But thankfully we get rid of this Entombed. Oy vey. Okay, so enemy phase. This stupid guy's going to ready again. And then let's move into upkeep. Let's gain a resource. Draw a card here. Oops. Keep forgetting to shuffle my deck afterward. Okay, we draw our copy of Mind Over Matter. Okay. Let's move into Mythos phase. Turn 6. 5 Doom of 7. And our encounter card is a Tear in Time. Test willpower 3. For each point you fail by, you must either lose an action or take a horror. Not the end of the world for us, honestly. We have a willpower 4. And we have Mr. Rook to soak up some horror. So, not too bad. Let's see what we get. Testing 1 up. Get an auto fail. Gross. Alright, well, we're going to take 3 horror. So we'll put 1 there, and then we'll put 2 on Mandy. Alright. Not ideal, but it is what it is. Okay, let's move into investigation phase. Let's use this. And yeah. We'll choose our location, and then we will evade this enemy. Really the most unflattering use of that card. Let's go ahead, use our first action again to explore. The Grand Chamber is connected. Woo! Alright! Finally getting somewhere. So we'll go and move into the Grand Chamber. The Grand Chamber is a 2 shroud, 1 clue location. Forced when you investigate and do not succeed by at least 2. Before resolving any other effects of the skill test, you flip 1 clue to its doom side. Ugh. Okay, so I think we can easily pass a test like that by 2 or more. Okay, we have 2 actions left of our turn. We could use them to get rid of the 13th vision. We could play the Dream Enhancing Serum, which I don't think would really do much for us. Not a whole lot left in the deck, unfortunately. Let's just do this, because I don't want to just accidentally pass by even amount. So let's do that. Let's move into enemy phase. Thankfully, this guy doesn't have Hunter. He just retaliates, so not the end of the world there either. Let's move into upkeep. gain a resource, draw a card. We draw Eureka, and we'll move into turn 7. 6 Doom of 7. And our encounter card is a Snake Scourge. So it gets put into play in our threat area, and if we're poisoned, it gains Surge. Treat each of our non-weakness item assets as if they were blank. Alright. So these 2 cards are blank. And then at the end of the round, it goes away. Okay, that's not the end of the world for us this turn. Let's investigate. Let's commit Quick Thinking. That's going to be a 6. That's going to be a 7. And I think that's all I want to commit. Right? Guess it's a 2. Yeah. So we're going 7v2 here. Chaos Bag says +1. All right. Okay, so we get to trigger Mandy. We get to trigger this. We get a clue. We did succeed by 2 or more. So that does not flip. We need 1 more clue to advance. And let's do this first. Let's look at the top. Let's look at the top 6. Draw 1. I think I want to find that last copy of 3 Aces. Yeah, alright, and there it is. I'm not going to trigger Occult Evidence. There's no clues. And the other cards aren't really worth grabbing. Nice. Alright, so worst comes to worst. At least we did what we set out to do. We played Pendant of the Queen, and we have all 3 copies of 3 Aces in our hand. So, not the end of the world. One thing I think that we could consider, and I kind of wish that I'd thought about this moving forward, is that I think I would actually consider playing Practice Makes Perfect in this deck. You have Deduction, you have 3 Aces, so that's 5 targets right there alone. You could reasonably play things like, Perception. So yeah, I think there is arguments to be made too. And Mandy lets you grab 2 copies too, which is sweet. So I think in the future I would try to do something along those lines too, because then it allows you to forego something like calling in favors. But anyway, we have 2 actions left. We need to explore. We have this, so our items are blank for the time being, so unfortunately we don't even get to trigger this reaction ability, which is too bad. But let's spend a second action to explore. The Burial Pit. The Burial Pit is connected. Alright, so we move into the Burial Pit with our second action. It is a 3 shroud, 1 clue location, Ancient Ruins. Forced, after you put Burial Pit into play by exploring successfully, you must either draw 2 cards from the top of the encounter deck or place 2 Doom on Burial Pit or any combination thereof. So it's either place 2 Doom on it, place a Doom on it and draw an encounter card, or draw 2 encounter cards. I'm thinking just putting 2 Doom on it. Chat, what do you think? I'm thinking 2 Doom. I think with our hand the way it is, we know we're going to draw another Slipaway at some point. We have this to deal with the Harbinger. I'm feeling pretty confident. I think Mandy's going to make it out of the temple. So let's go with let's go with 2 Doom here. And then we're investigating a 3 shroud location. 3v5 currently. Actually, I kind of want to wait a turn so I can get a trigger off of my Hawkeye folding camera. Yeah. Let's spend 3 resources in our last action to play this. So these 3 aces only now count as 1 card in our hand. Enemy phase. There are no enemies relevant to speak of. This Fang of Vieg will just sit up in the entryway there. We'll move into upkeep. We'll go up to 3 resources. Oops. And we will draw a card. Ooh, so we draw a second deduction. So we get to exhaust the Dream Enhancing Serum and draw another card. And we draw an Occult Evidence. Why do we always draw it then, and not when we're actually searching? But anyway, I digress. Turn 8, the agenda will advance. We do not remove the Doom from the location that we are currently at, but we do, however, advance. Alright. So a sound thrums in the walls of the temple, and the harbinger of Valusia spawns at the location with the most doom, which is our location. Isn't that fun? Ah! There we go. I forgot it spawns at the location with the most doom, but that's honestly pretty okay. This goes away. And then that was Mythos phase. So let's go ahead and draw our encounter card. We draw a Tear in Time. Okay. So we have to test willpower 3. For each point we fail by, we must either take a horror or lose an action. Let's throw this Occult Evidence in. That'll be 5 versus 3. We're getting a +1 from the Hawkeye folding camera. Let's just do that. Bada bing, bada boom. And unfortunately, we fail. So we have to take a horror. Not the end of the world, though. Okay, so this is why this card is sweet, because we can just evade this. Alternatively, we could, let's see, there's 6 cards left on our deck. I kind of want to wait until they're lower in cards to use this. But I don't hate doing that either. So we have a few options. We could get the clue. We could get the clue for free. We could evade it for free. Actually, I like evading here. Let's evade. So we'll evade. This will go away. We're going to evade the Harbinger of Valusia. When it runs out of charges, we put these segments back into our deck. This will be evaded. I've heard Pendant of the Queen's pretty good. Pretty good. Alright, we have 3 actions. We need to investigate. Need to investigate this burial pit. Let's yeah, let's just investigate. I think that's gonna be 3 versus 5. Do I want to commit anything else? I don't think so. I know I say that now. 3 versus 5 chaos spec says 0. Woo! Alright. So we'll get this clue. We have 3 clues. We're going to spend them to advance. Alright, so let's go up here. So this is bye-bye. This is this. Alright, so we are shuffling the set-aside Chamber of Time into the Exploration deck. Alright. So we shuffle that into the Exploration deck, and then we check our supplies. If an investigator has chalk, remove this act from the game. Otherwise, place it in the victory display and it gains Vengeance 1. Okay. So that's the use for chalk. I couldn't remember what it was. But that's such a minor thing, honestly. Like, you need, I think it's 5? 5 Vengeance for it to be even relevant later in the campaign? I could be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it's only 5. Alright. So that was the first act. So our objective now is to get to the Chamber of Time and get 2 clues. Pretty simple job. We have deduction and we have 3 aces. So we can combo those together, get a bunch of clues, resources, and cards. And then that has to be just any time. Okay. So we have 2 actions left. We have 2 locations connected to us. So let's go ahead and explore. Second action is going to be to explore. And we find the underground ruins, which is connected. So we're going to move to the underground ruins to shroud 1 clue. While there's an enemy here, Underground Ruins is considered to be in the victory display for vengeance purposes. So after an enemy in the underground ruins leaves play, you place a doom on it. Okay, well, we don't need this clue, so I think we can just keep exploring here. So let's use our last action to just explore again. All right, and we find the Chamber of Time, which is not connected. And then we find Ancient Hall, which is connected. Okay, so we move into the Ancient Hall. So what location? Oh, we need to go back into the burial pit. You gotta be kidding me. Okay. So we're kind of making a roundabout way here. So the Grand Chamber is over here. The burial pit is here. And then, what is this? Underground Ruins is over here. And then the Chamber of Time would be down there. And then we arrive in the Ancient Hall, which is over here. Oh, so that's connected to the entranceway too. This map is confusing. Alright, so we go up here. This goes back into the deck, unfortunately. Alright, so we spawn in the Ancient Hall at the end of the round. Flip one of the clues to its doom side. Any investigator may spend 3 resources to cancel this effect. I think we're okay with that this turn. This has 13 total threshold. So that was our 3 actions. It was 1 action, explore. Second action, explore. Third action was do a test. Yeah, it was investigate. Okay, let's move into enemy phase. The harbinger will ready. Thing is mondo scary. And then let's move into upkeep here. Okay, so we draw a dream enhancing serum. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand. We're at turn 9. We have, what is that? This will also be a doom as well. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 doom of 13 in play. And our encounter card for the turn is an Ancestral Fear. Peril Surge. We must either place a doom on our location and discard it, or we must place it in the victory display. I'm going to just place a doom on our location. That's not the end of the world. Okay. So we need to go back into the burial pit, but we need this guy to GTFO. Okay, so I'm okay with investigating here. Let's spend an action to investigate. I think I missed a trigger off this. I did. There should be 2 on here. Thanks, chat. Yeah, let's investigate 3v6 here. Yeah, 3v6 Chaos Spike says 0. Bada bing. Bada friggin' boom. It also avoids a doom too, so that's pretty worthwhile. Let's test this. That's going to be 4 versus 2 here. I'll commit this for 5 versus 2. Chaos Spike says 0. Nice. And then third action. Guess with our third action, because this guy's going to move in here. Last action. Forced after an enemy leaves play. Okay, that's not going to be a huge deal. Yeah, let's just use our last action to go ahead and draw a card here. And we draw our first segment. So we know a bunch of the cards in our deck are segments. Enemy phase. That was our turn. Whoops. Enemy phase. This guy will move here. That's the only other place he can move into. So we need to get here. Right, so we'll have to go, let's see. This is not connected, right? No, this is. Okay, so we're going to have to go here, here, and then go from there. Okay, so that was enemy phase. Upkeep, let's gain a resource, draw a card. We draw a second Onyx. Let's... Boom, woo, baby! That's what I'm talking about. Nice. Woo, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cards in hand. Let's Mythos phase, turn 10. We have 2 plus, I think there's 3 on the board right now. 1, 2, 3, Doom in play. So that's going to be 5 of 13, and we will draw a final mistake. Test agility 2. This gets +1 difficulty for each Doom on your location. If you fail, take 2 damage. So that is a 3v3 here. I think I'm just going to go straight up on that. Yeah, alright. So we take 2 damage. Unfortunately, our Mr. Rook will perish. But that's quite alright. Okay, wow. We are chugging quite along here. So we can do some pretty broken stuff. So let's play all these. That's going to put them all away. And we'll get our pendant back. We'll put 3 charges on the pendant. Okay, so we can choose a location. So we could just move. We could just straight up just whoop. So we're going to do that. That's not broken at all. First action. Oh, we need clues at the Chamber of Time. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, kind of forgetting what I'm doing here. I got all excited drawing all 3 of those so quickly. So we're going to explore. We find the Chamber of Time. The Chamber of Time is in fact connected. So we will move into the Chamber of Time. It spawns with 2 clues. And then, let's see. So after it enters play, we attach the Relic of Ages to it and place a Doom on it. So search Relic. Let me just hide my hand here. Okay, so now you guys can actually see what's going on here. Alright, so we're at the Chamber of Time. This has 4 shroud, 2 clues. We put the relic into play, and then we place a Doom on it. Alright, so we have 4 Doom total on the board now. We need 2 clues. We have 2 actions left. Right? No, we should have all our actions, because this was fast. Haven't done anything else. Oh no, we explored, that's right. Dirt. Getting all excited over here. Let's, yeah, let's just do this. Let's use 3 aces and deduction. And we're going to investigate here. Automatically succeed. Grab these 2 clues. And we're going to draw 3 cards and gain 3 resources and draw 3 cards. Whew! Nice. Alright, very cool. And then we're going to spend these 2 clues to advance. Alright, so we choose an investigator to take control of the relic. That's going to be me, since I am the only investigator. Move the placement of each location to form a straight line. Oh god, I forgot about this. Okay, hold on. Hold the phone here. Okay, so move the placement of each location to form a straight line with the Chamber of Time on the left. And the entryway on the right. So over here. I mean, we've broken the scenario already as it is, because you know what's going to happen next turn is we're just going to use the pendant to move there next turn. So not the end of the world. Okay, so we've done that. Each location is placed from left to right between these 2 locations in order of how much Doom is on them. From lowest to highest. If it's a tie, you may decide the order. Hold on, let me just... So it would be lowest Doom to the left, right? Left to right, each location is placed from left to right in between those 2. Yeah, from lowest to highest. Okay, so this would be over here. This would be over here. This would be here. And then this doesn't have any Doom either, so I'll just put that there, I guess. Okay. And then until the end of the scenario, ignore all connection locations. Instead, each location is connected to its left and to its right. Okay, so yeah, so we have 1 action left. And yeah, so let's see, well, there are 3 more vengeance in the victory display. Each serpent enemy gets +1 evade, and our objective is just to get the heck out of here now. All right, so we have one action left. Is the harbinger going to attack us? Let's see. He's just going to move to the left once, so he is not. Yeah. I mean, this is pretty much the end of the scenario. So let's see if there's any victory points we can accumulate here. We have one here. We have one here as well. And then there's nothing in the victory display. So, yeah, I don't think there's really much else we can do except hope to draw an enemy. So I guess I'll just spend my last action. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's just draw a card. Okay. So, enemy phase. That was investigation phase. We'll move into enemy phase. This guy will move to the left. To the left. To the left. Yeah. Pendant has been really strong, and Mandy can find them really quickly. I'm rather surprised at how silly that was. Okay, so that was enemy phase. Let's move into upkeep. Let's draw our last card. We draw the last slip away in our deck. Turn 11. 3 plus 4 is 7. And we draw for our encounter card an Ancestral Fear, so we will just place a Doom on our location. That is fine. And bye-bye now. And then our stuff would have readied. And then we'll use Pendant of the Queen to target here. We'll go here, and then we will resign. So, yeah. That was cool. Let's let's go ahead and let's take a look at the campaign log here. All right, so we did not get defeated. We resigned. If no resolution. So we got a resolution 2. Oh no, hold up. Yeah, it'd be resolution 1. Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so we have the relic. So in our campaign log, we would record that the investigators recovered the relic. All right, so we recovered the Relic of Ages. One investigator must add the relic to their deck. If the Harbinger of Valusia is still in play, which it is. So we have to record that the Harbinger is still alive. Harbinger is still alive. We're never going to deal any damage to even the enemies. Alright, so for each vengeance point in the victory display, we have to record vengeance points under Yig's Fury. I believe there's one on a location. While there's an enemy considered. Okay, so we don't, because we didn't get the clues. So okay, so there's 2 vengeance here, and then there's 1 here. So it's 3 total. Okay, and then let's see here. If the Harbinger is out of play, we did that, and then each investigator earns X experience. So let's see, we got 1 from here. We got 1 from the Grand Chamber. So that's 2, and then 4. Nice. I think that's it. Let's just double check here. Yeah, that's just the other resolutions. Nice. Very, very cool. Did it? I mean, does it really matter? Oh, it does. Okay. Well, let's surge. Okay, we're not poisoned, so we would surge again. Nice catch. A tear in time. Okay, so we'd either have to lose actions or take horror, which is fine, because we can afford to take all the horror in the world. Yeah, so we would take 1 horror, which is fine. Okay, I swear I didn't cheat. It's fine. But yeah, so cool. I think that's it. I'm sure somebody in chat will say something if I had missed something. But let's get into our post-game review and see what the gist is here. Okay, so that went much better than my run with Jenny. Mandy was able to just very quickly set up and get going. While Untamed Wilds was a little brutal, I think that run could have gone a lot better if we didn't draw so many enemies. I think every single encounter card we drew was an enemy, except for the last one. I think literally every single one was an enemy. It was ridiculous. But going into Doom of Etzli, we had quite a number of ways of kind of cheesing a scenario out. And as you saw with the power of the Pendant of the Queen, we were able to just generate so many free evades and free moves that we really didn't have to worry at all about what the agenda was trying to accomplish. Yeah, it really is kind of nuts with 3 experience what those myriad cards can do for your deck. Easy Mark was also fairly ridiculous as well. And we even started the scenario with 3 less resources, but we still ended up with plenty of resource generation throughout the course of the game. I could see... let's see. Let's take a quick look at the deck here. I think as far as future upgrades go, I could see perhaps upgrading deduction, maybe getting something to replace Hawkeye folding camera, as that's kind of slow. Let's see what else do we have here. Then we have to include the relic too. So as far as other cards go, I could see potentially momentum too. Momentum could be good because you could use it on investigate checks and then make all of your other checks easier. But I think 3 Aces kind of does the same thing but better, especially in Mandy. So we could consider potentially taking out a copy of Slipaway, I think, now. I think we've proven that the deck has enough sources of evasion. Another card I think I'm going to take out is a second copy of Dream Enhancing Serum. The first one's definitely good, but the second one has very diminishing returns. Otherworld Codex. I don't even remember what that card does. Is that the one that lets you search the encounter deck for like 9 cards and you get to discard a card in play or something like that? Yeah, if that's the case, I could see that being pretty useful. Oh, what is that card? Occult Lexicon? Yeah, I could see Lexicon being pretty good too. Lexicon would give us more card draw and more filtering, which would allow us to get to 3 Aces and all of our pendants faster. But that was crazy though. So the way you're able to set it up with a 30 card deck is, if you're able to get the pieces early and use them all pretty early, you can shove them all back into your deck and just do it over again. It's really kind of silly. And with Mandy having all the resource generation she needs to be able to do it every single time, I think that's how we're going to get through this campaign, is just abusing the Pendant of the Queen, because it's really quite good. Yeah. But let's take another break, and I think I'm going to go ahead and chat about the the new investigator decks, because I'm curious to see what you guys think. But for now, let's take about 5 minutes, and I'll be back shortly.